بسم الله الرحمن الرحیم و به نستعین. Assalamu alaikum everyone.
Alaikum
Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum. And assalamu alaikum. Sorry if I'm a little bit like at a bad angle for you, but I hope inshallah the ARAFAH is so beautiful that you have an amazing time. Let's talk to people who are watching live. How are you feeling? Alhamdulillah, we're feeling okay. I'm feeling so great. This Quran recitation took me somewhere. Allah bless you. It was so nice. Thank you so much. Alhamdulillah. Quran, beautiful souls, beautiful view. I just want to sit and watch. I was thinking, can I get someone else to do the talk so we can just chill? But no, inshallah, you have to tolerate me for a little bit. And then inshallah, I think Sister Nassim told me maybe around 30 minutes, 40 minutes, a short talk, and then we'll discuss together, inshallah, a little bit about the ARAFAH of Imam Husayn. There are so many, I think the ARAFAH is like an ocean. So I'm trying to see from which angle do we start our journey to this ocean, from which port do we start sailing. I was thinking maybe this Quran recitation inspired me. You know, that verse is one of my favorites, that this person came and started telling people there's something called God. Would you be interested in the idea of God and like following his messengers? And then they were like, Jannah, enter heaven, which is Quran's way of saying they didn't like it, they killed him. So they basically said, nah, we're not interested in God, you go. So Quran says, وَقِيلَ ادْخُلِ الْجَنَّةَ. Now, afterwards, something really beautiful happens. This guy is so beautiful, even though they killed him, now he's gone to heaven. He says, قَالَ يَا لَيْتَ قَوْمِي يَعْلَمُونَ بِمَا غَفَرَ لِي رَبِّي. He says, oh, look how much God is doing for me. You know, Ghufran, we've talked about it before. Ghufran is when God fills all of our shortcomings. You know, unfortunately, sometimes we translate it as forgiveness. It's a little bit undermining it. Ghufran means whatever you're lacking, God comes and fills it. If I, for example, need a little bit of safety, God fills that. And all the shortcomings we have are a result of something's lacking. And so maybe I'm not feeling good enough. I start being annoying with you. I may start offending you. And then I may not feel safe. I may start hurting others to feel safe. All of our shortcomings come from a place of lack. Now, Ghufran that God does is comes and fills all of our gaps because he's got all the resources. And so he says, now I'm in a place with my God. He's filling all of my needs. I wanted to be loved, he's loving me. I wanted to be seen, he's seeing me. I lacked knowledge, he's giving me knowledge. I lacked light, is feeling that for me. And the interesting thing is he's having so much fun with God, and he says, I wish those people who killed me knew so they would chill as well. And it's so interesting. He's not like, oh, why did they kill me, all of that. And he even sees, but it's so interesting. Ya layta qawmi ya'lamun bima ghafara li rabbi. He says, oh, the fact that they killed me, it means they probably have some lack as well. There was something wrong with them that they would just like kill me. Like, why would they do that? It means they're missing something, they're lacking something. So I wish they knew that there is a God who can give them whatever they need, and they would chill, they would calm down. Though ARAFAH is literally, imagine if that guy, this one kid get poor thing passed away. But through Quran we heard about his story, that he says, I wish people knew there is a God and he's so beautiful. Now imagine if that guy came back and wanted to write a letter to us of, I wish people knew. What did you wish people to know? That would have been what? That would have been Dua ARAFAH. It was at its best. Like levels much higher than his understanding even. Have you seen these books which have such cool titles? Masalan, things I wish I knew when I was 20. Or like things I wish my mom knew when she was. It's like there's always like things I wish someone knew. Or what was the other one? Thing I wish my younger self knew. All of these things. Hala, this guy, Ya layta qawmi ya'lamun, is a person who's met God, seen the beauty of God, and says things I wish every soul knows, that you have a beautiful God every second of your life. And unfortunately, believing in your mind that such a God is there doesn't equal having him in your life. And many of us, Muslims, Christians, Jewish, all the beautiful souls in the world who believe in God, they believe in God in their mind doesn't mean that they have God in their life. This ghafarani rabbi, that there is a reality that can come and fulfill all needs I have. In the story of my life, whenever I come across a shortcoming, he's there to support me. This type of God, unfortunately, believing in religion is not the same as that. You have to find this God in your life. And if you think about it, most of what annoys us in life is these times when we come across our shortcomings. And shortcoming doesn't mean something crazy. Imagine um, your child's going through a challenge, you want to help them, you don't know how. You want to help them, they're not accepting. You don't know how to communicate with them. You don't know how to tell them, I love you. This is from a place of love. Or you want to tell something to your parent, and when they're at this stage, they can't accept it. If I was smarter, I could have. If I knew more, I would have. If I had more knowledge, if I had. It's a shortcoming inside me that I don't know how to solve the situation that leads to my worries, leads to my fears. Or, masalan, I may want to protect my family, I don't have the power. In all of these cases, do I feel like there's someone who can now come and make up for my shortcomings or not? That's the difference between someone who's living with God and someone who's not living with God. And the interesting thing is this: God says, I don't want to come in your life and interfere. So, of course, I'm supporting everyone, but there's a level of my support that's only for those who want to live with me. So that's why a person who starts living with God, finding God in their life, they have a very different experience to someone who doesn't believe in God. Any, and the fact that most of, Allah, I don't want to make it a little bit negative, but it kind of shows if a person who calls themselves religious or not really has God in their life or not. And imagine, shouldn't there be a massive difference in the person who's got God in their life and someone who doesn't? Unfortunately, for many of us, even Masalan, the beautiful souls who taught us about religion, their life didn't really have that much difference with other people, you know? But think about it, see, this person is living with God. It should be very different to the person who's not living with God. And of course, as we said, from God's point of view, He wants to care and show support to everyone. Even in month of Rajab, we read, Ya man yu'ti man lam ya'rifhu. God gives even to the one who doesn't know Him. But there's a level that God says, baby, I can't come and interfere unless you tell me, okay, you want my help. So that level of special help is for someone who invites God in their life. Quran calls this person muttaqi. This is what taqwa is, a life with God. And God says, if we live together, al-aqibatu lil-muttaqin. Everything will go well for you. If you allow me to come to your life, there is nothing in this world that can harm you. Even if on the surface you think something's hurting you, if I'm there, I'll show you surface is not all there is. Everything in this world has two sides. And so Dua Arafah is almost a letter from someone who's living with God, saying things I wish people know. So that's something like that. Life doesn't need to be the way it is. Um, how are we feeling, by the way? Are we okay? Yeah? So nice to see you all. Alhamdulillah. So nice to see everyone. Nice. Zahrajan, how are you? You okay? I was like, today you're full of light, mashallah. Nice. It's the reflection of the sun. It's so sorry I put you on the spot. I'll keep doing it. It's yeah. So sorry. By the way, we have not forgotten about you. How are you feeling? You're okay? How's your laptop's battery? Right, fully charged. So we're talking about how there are two sides to everything, and what that person says in this verse of the Quran, Ya layta qawmi ya'lamun, he means these people are seeing life at one aspect, but there's another side to life they're not aware of. So, in other words, everything in life, every moment, every event that happens to us, every interaction, every person we meet, everything that God has created has two sides to it. One side, thank you so much, bless you. You don't have just beautiful recitation, you also read minds. I was thinking about water. Thank you so much. Let me start from a different place, that's better. Or if you see a phone that has the brand Samsung or iPhone, what does that mean? You're like, oh, if this has been created by Apple, it gives you certain expectations of what is it like. At least before you would say, okay, it must be great engineering. It must be like this. And you have certain expectations from, for example, iPhone. If it's Samsung, it's different. You have different. If it's Huawei, if whatever brand it is. Or for example, if a car, you see a car and you saw it has the Mercedes logo on there. You're like, oh, this car should be a good car. You see maybe another brand, you're like, yeah, this is a good car, but I think next year I'm going to go to the mechanics. And every company, when they put their logo, you have you know what you're dealing with almost, right? Well, I don't want to mention the names of the cars that may have issues, because some of us may have them. We don't want to feel that. But what am I saying all of this? God says everything in this world, it has my logo. Everything in this world, every person, every moment, every interaction created by me. God's logo. Designed by God in California or in, I don't know, wherever God designing places. What does that mean? God says, baby, your expectations from any of this should be very high. You can't say I have a person who is like, this is an awful person. No, I don't create awful things. In the same way that Apple could say, I don't make bad phones, God says, I don't create bad moments. Say, God, but today was really awful. Says, nah, if it looked awful, there's another way you should be looking at it. Because God says there's nothing I create which is bad. Nothing I create that doesn't have some form of beauty or gem inside it. If you can't see that right now, there's another side to it that you should find. That's what Imam Hussayn is helping us to do with ARAFAH. He says, baby, your life may seem difficult, annoying, full of pain. You still haven't figured out the other side of it, which God has God's logo on. Let me give you one example. Another problem we have is that we haven't seen people like that among us very often. After we've seen every now and then, but it's not very common for us to see someone who can, like Imam Hussayn, look at any moment of life and show us how is this moment created by a beautiful, loving God. Masalan, with Lady Zainab, that famous example is what? On the day of Ashura, Yazid was like, did you see, Masalan, about the day of Ashura, did you see what God did to you? She's like, oh, God did beautiful stuff. As she says, in addition to the layer you're seeing, I'm seeing another layer where I'm seeing beauty, light, and all of that. As there's nothing in this world that doesn't have another side, which is that divine, beautiful, loving side. We just need to find a way to see that. That's what that verse in the Quran, the guy says, I wish my people knew. I'll give you one real example as well, so we don't think like this is reserved for Lady Zainab. Then I'll maybe talk about how can we now bring this into our life in a very real sense. One of these people who has these, and one of the times this idea that every event has two sides came about was a few days ago. I was speaking to someone about my sister-in-law. My sister-in-law is a weird person. I'll explain. If don't judge me, in a few minutes you'll agree that she's very weird. First thing she's done, she's married into our family. So we why would you do that? No, but I'm joking. You know, Reza was admitted to hospital a few weeks ago. And on the day everyone came to the hospital, Reza is in ICU telling Aji, we call her Aji literally means sister, Aji Zainab. He was telling Aji that let him go. Just be okay with God taking him. He's in Masala. Let go in your heart. Accept that your husband would go. Many relatives even came and told her this. And she called me as I was here. She was like, Javad, I don't get these people. Like, why do they want my husband to go? I'm enjoying life with him. This is why she's weird. Because life with Reza is very difficult. Especially in the last year, I think this reaches Reza. In the last year, Reza can't really sleep at night. You know, Reza's been on a wheelchair 25 years. Now I told you, I've given you updates as we go on. It's gotten worse. So, in the past maybe 7-8 months, Reza can't sleep at night. So, she puts him on the bed. Then 1 hour later, he's like, I can't sleep. Can you take me to this? So she has to put him out of the bed, put him on the wheelchair, take him to the living room. Then he says, now I think I can sleep. Put him on the bed, put him on the... And so I need to go to the toilet. I was like, to the toilet, put the wheelchair to the toilet. So many people had told me, how is she doing it? You know? Even some of her relatives, sometimes like, I hope the Reza goes, it's better for him and it's better for Zainab. Maybe someone from outside was looking at their life and being like, yeah, this is the situation. If both of them die, it's much better. Maybe how in our mind we try to solve things. If Reza dies, he'll be happy. Zainab doesn't need to do all of this work. Hold on, I want to take you now to the, and yeah, when we went to their house, you see, most nights, Aji is not sleeping. She's always ready at every night in case Reza needs anything. Hold on. I'll take you to the moment Reza's admitted to ICU and there's a high chance he may die. Perfect situation. Now let him go again. Have some freedom. How much do you want to work for this guy? She calls me, says, Javad, these people don't get it. Reza is my life. And I was like, what do you mean? Even part of me didn't get. Like, how are you loving this thing so much? She was like, dude, even when he's in the ICU bed, I think after a certain time, they would kick everyone out and even the visiting would finish. She said, I still don't go home. I go outside. I sleep on one of the chairs because I want to be close to him. I was like, people don't know what this guy is giving me. The light, the meaning, the love. And so I was like, Pasfiri, many people look at Masalan, I think increasingly everyone is seeing it. And the last few weeks, especially, it's becoming so clear. But before, many people would look at Reza and be like, oh, a sad life. We even had relatives who called me and said, we can't come see you. We love Reza so much, we can't see him like this. So they stopped coming. And they saw a sad situation. Whereas whenever you ask Zainab, it's like, oh, Reza is the coolest person in the world. And he's not faking it all because I know you can't fake it. If you fake it again, at some point you get tired. At some point you're like, let him go. But for her, she looks there, she's seeing something else. She's getting real things from this relationship, from this. Um, and so this is what Imam Hussein in Dua Arafah wants to talk to us about. Okay, everything in life has two sides. If you just stuck at the surface, you just want to destroy everything. This bad moment, let's get away with it. This person has shortcomings, let them die. That person paid too much. And then you miss out on all of these great gems which are on the other side of it. Hello, what are these gems like? These are exactly the kind of things as human beings we need. It's love, it's meaning, it's beauty. It's difficult to put into words, but it's these things that make us really get up in the morning and feel like life is beautiful. You know, just last night we were with some of our friends, and one of them said something so beautiful. The idea is this: we don't know ourselves. I mean, when even God says in the Quran, says, "La takunu kalladina nasullah fa'ansahum anfusahum." God says, if you forget about me, then you forget about yourself. Oh no, what happens if you forget about yourself? You don't know what makes you happy. Mesela, we forgot we're a soul. If Zainab thinks she's a body, Reza is a bad news for her. But she says, I'm a soul, Reza is a soul, and this soul is the most enriching soul to be in a relationship with. But if I think I'm a body, what am I looking for to be happy? Oh, I'm looking for a resort. I'm looking for a place where I don't need to go and wash dishes. I'm looking for what gives comfort to my body, and then I think I'll be happy then. Whereas I go to the best resort in the world, then maybe I'll have an issue about, oh, the next room have a private pool too. That's it, ruins. Hala. Next time you get the private pool, you go inside, a worry comes to your mind, an insecurity, a fear, a fight with your partner. But there's also times we've all witnessed this. You could be with a friend in Masalan, Birmingham's worst cafe. The place is awful, maybe they haven't, but if you're with a friend engaged in a discussion, what do you feel like? I'm in heaven. Haven't many of us had these discussions that go on till morning, or Masalan, those times when we were in love and just texting till morning, we didn't even notice how time is passing. So what is all of this showing us? Hassan, what gives us peace, joy, love in Hassan, these are different to what we think when we forget who we are. Assalamu alaikum, assalamu alaikum. So this idea that everything in life has two sides perhaps is the most important thing we can think about in our life. And almost every problem we have goes back to this. We're not looking at our life from the right angle. And unfortunately, we're in a culture in which sometimes even people who want to help us get us stuck in a right angle, in a wrong angle. They tell you, okay, something happened in your childhood. So I don't know, father was rude to you, mom hurt you, or you had a previous relationship, they did this to you. This now means, you're forever going to have this trauma, or you're going to be in this problem, you're going to be in this pain. Now, I'm not denying that previous things have results. Yes, there is something trauma, it's very real. But the way you see this, the way you understand it makes all the difference in the world. So let me give you one example. This lovely person, although we'll give him a fake name, Masalan Ahmad, because of confidentiality. Ahmad had a Ahmad, very successful person in technology. And anyone who saw him from outside would be like, what a strong person, physically, everything, really successful from the surface of the dunya. But if you became close with Ahmad, you would start realizing that there are certain things that Ahmad is suffering from. And he's still not okay with certain things that happened between in his when he was a teenager, when he was young, and he was carrying this with him in every moment going forward in his life. And he was about to have children, and he was very worried. What if this messes up my relationship with my children because it has hurt my friendships before? Ahmad goes to or someone who helps, مثلا one of these people who are in a helping profession. I don't want to say their job. The guy is telling Ahmad, yes, baby, this is the problem in your life. You need to find a way to fix this obstacle. Otherwise, this thing that happened in your past will ruin your life in the future. And so, a few times I was speaking to Ahmad, all he's thinking about, how can I deal with this? Do I go on, talk to my father? What do I do? The guy's not going to get it. What do I do? Although I don't want to tell you like what happened, but I'll just tell you the end of the story. Like the journey is for another day. The end of the story is like Ahmad was very stuck, by the way. As long as the therapist was trying to help him, nothing was working, unfortunately. The moment of breakthrough came when Ahmad started realizing, what if I'm looking at this in a wrong way? I said, if I say that yes, you had a shortcoming in your younger years, I'm so sorry. It's like you're different to other people. I wish you had a normal childhood. We need to work with this deficit. Hala, let's figure out ways. And this was the context in which they were working with the person who was trying to help him. Something awful has happened. You didn't have the life that some other people had. Now let's see what can we do to reduce the damages. The pivotal moment came for him when he started realizing, hang on a second, what if there is no such a thing as a normal life? Of course, no one wants to be hurt by their parents or no one wants difficulty. But what if every human story is not lacking from the other story and has within it what that person needs to get to an amazing ending? What if Asan looking at this and seeing this is a problem, yet you're different to the normal lives? This itself is an assumption that creates a block from which we can never escape. So when Ahmad started looking at his life like this, was like things, obvious things, which I had seen for many years, but he couldn't see, suddenly became so clear to him. And so one of the things that Ahmad started realizing was that, and he had told me this many times, I just didn't pick it up himself. Because from my point of view, Ahmad was such an amazing guy. And he was helping a lot of teenagers, he was helping other people. And towards the end, he'd even become a person that he even went and supported his father in different situations. So I was like, Ahmad, when I look at you, I'm seeing an amazing person. Because you didn't get what you needed as a child, and of course, we don't want that for any child, but your soul used that environment to become a person who is so open to the needs of people, so observant. And now there are literally tens of young men in the world who are dependent on the care you're showing them. And you became so amazing, you're even showing care to your dad. And all of this because of the journey you took. To me, this is amazing. He couldn't see any of that because he always looked at the past as a problem. But now he was like, okay, it was a bad thing, but maybe in that difficulty, I found a treasure that Alon, if someone tells me, are you willing to give that treasure back? Like, no. Like, Ahmad, are you okay now to be a person who cannot support others, who cannot show love to a father? He's like, no, I love this person I've become. I'm very grateful that I can see anyone's need and naturally go there and support them. I was like, this is the treasure you found in that past. Yes, that past was awful in some ways. But God says there is no human story, no matter how awful it may seem, that doesn't have treasures within it. So if you think your life, your past is a problem, that there's another story out there that's the good one, you're missing out on the treasures in your own story. Does that make sense what I'm trying to say? This, hala, is what we needed now to come to Dua Arafah. Because Dua Arafah's main premise is that every single person comes to this world with a beautiful story. With a story that's perfect, with a story that does not have any deficit from other people's story. Because God is not like that. Yeah, you have a good story, you have a terrible story. As it says, if right now your story still doesn't look like beautiful, but you still haven't figured it out yet, which we said there's two sides to everything. But the moment you realize your story, you say, actually, your story was the perfect one for you. And now Ahmad is so happy, he's over his pain, he's no longer anything bothering him. But the pivotal point came through the Arafah. That what if, Asan, the assumption that there's something wrong with my life is what's blocking me? What if everything in my life is gonna at some point make this story very beautiful? That's why Maslim al-Hussein gives even example of Yusuf. Okay, baby, he says, God, the way He's designed your life is that even if all of your brothers come together to hurt you, there's no one can hurt you. We'll take you to Egypt. They throw him into a well, say, I'll take you to Egypt. Then Zuleika comes, wants to hurt Yusuf, puts him in prison, and says, it doesn't matter. Through prison, I'll take you out, you become a vizier. All you need is to know that I've got your back, that your story is only between you and me. No one from the outside can hurt you. Even if they aim, I'll make it work for you. And it's Dua Arafah, the beginning of it is this starting to build this trust with God. That God, would you do that for me too? Will the story of my life also be okay no matter what I've done in the past or what other people have done to me? Is my story a beautiful story too? And Moses says, dude, why wouldn't it be? Of course. And then the rest of this Dua Arafah is answering all the doubts in our head. Because you know why we can't accept our story is the most beautiful story in the world? It was like, yeah, that person did that to me. Or sometimes worse than that. We're like, I've done things you don't know. And so I was talking to a young boy and he said, you know what, Jawad? I ruined my story. And I told him, baby, still you don't know God. You think God would let you ruin your story? Why do you think God would allow you to do that? No matter what you've done, God says, I've designed a story that no matter how much you've messed up in the past, the moment you're with me, everything turns around. And not only others can't ruin your story, even you can't ruin your story. But this is not something that we can just hear and take for granted. We need to feel the trust in this. And then so parts of Dua Arafah is like how many ways God comes to give us this trust. You're 60, you're 70, you're 80, you're 20, you've done this, it doesn't matter. You can always have your beautiful story if you live with God. And maybe we can pause there and then we'd lovely to hear your thoughts, questions, or give whatever you would like to say. Who's the brave soul who starts the the comments? That was such an abrupt end, right? Like I can't end smoothly, it seems. Yes, please.
Special days, the day of Arafah, so what is God's expectation? Like, what will you do on that day? How can you get most of it? What is your everyone's saying
What comes to my mind, this may seem silly, or I think this is all Imam Hussein trying to tell us. I think the most important thing we can do is gaining this trust in God. In all aspects, I'll be okay, my children will be okay. Um, God loves me, and I really think believing this is the most important thing, and feeling it. And I'm not making it up for myself, there's a book by one of our scholars called Shahid Sani, very famous scholar. Even in fiqh, he's done a lot of important work. He, I think, lost three of his children. Then he was in so much pain initially that he wrote a book for people who are in pain as well. And it's even translated in English. It's called Comfort of the Heart. Although I don't recommend reading it, don't worry. Because the hadiths are beautiful, but sometimes the commentary may confuse you. I'll mention some of the hadiths in lectures so you can have it like very easily. Some of the hadiths there is so crazy. I just finished it last week. I read it again. So one of the hadiths there is, I think one of the prophets asked God, similar to this we even have in Hadith Mi'raj. Okay, what can we do for you, God? Similar to your question. It's a special day. What can we do for you? God says literally what the Arafah is trying to achieve. Just know I haven't brought you here to suffer. I created you out of love. Can you just trust me in that? That's tawakkul. And can you not even be okay with that trust? Can you expect more? Can you expect reza, which is that asan, I want to enjoy? Even think about it. So we've misunderstood God in so many ways. I saw a person recently, I was speaking to her. She said, we went to a workshop and they told us that we need to, in this world, do ubudat of God. Ubudiyat. We need to be abds of God. That's what God created us for. I was like, nah. We're going to be abds, but that's not what God created us for. God created us because He's beautiful. He wanted us to enjoy His love. The way to enjoy His love is to be an abd. But don't tell me God created me to be an abd. No, I don't like that story. Or in Reza's pain, some people came to us and like, you need to it's a test. I was like, it's a test. Test is awful. Think about it. Zainab is having fun with her husband. If someone had told her, no, don't have fun, don't enjoy. Be unhappy, be miserable, but be patient because it's a test. Test is such a low concept. You know what I mean? And it's difficult. You hate it, but don't complain. Or life is about being patient. Trust in God's wisdom. I think that's nonsense. I'll explain why. That out of context is really bad. And I mean, if that is the ceiling of life, it's such an awful thing to do. I've come here. I can't see why it's good. I should just trust in this invisible being's wisdom. Why? Show me some of it. If you're all powerful, why should I trust your wisdom? So show me some of it. So that's why you see God always says that tawakkul wa rida. Immediately says rida. I mean, trust me a little bit, but if you're trusting me in the right way, it should immediately lead to reza. What is reza? Reza is dige, you're enjoying it. You're not going through it like this. Or have you seen what patience does to our faces? I didn't know why adults look like that till I became one. I judged us so much, And then I became an adult, like, oh, that's why. It's not getting life. A lot of adults say it's life. No, it's not life. It's not getting life that does this to our faces. Because maybe you need to go through so much Masala, you can't show your pain to your children. Then your parents get to an age you can't even show it to them. It's like there's so much pain you can't show there, you can't show here. Where does all of it go in your face? and 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 then on top of that, holla, they say, Masala, you want to complain. Masala, you're with a mate, you want to say, oh, life is tough. Then the Shaykh says, no, you shouldn't be ungrateful. So your mate is like, how is life? Oh, I can't complain. Yeah, I can't wait to complain. But the Shaykh, like, don't be ungrateful. Yeah, so many of us, it's like, when you're Masala need to go to the loo, you're holding yourself. We have so much complaint ready to go. But Masala, someone told us, don't complain, you're being ungrateful for long. That's why I don't like any of this. And I'm not judging anyone who tells us to be like this. So I may even have, when I was younger, given lectures, Masala, be patient, that nonsense. Till you come to the Arafah, and he says, why should you be patient? Be happy. There's another way of looking at it where it's beautiful, like how Zainab is enjoying every moment with Reza. And it's a very real example. It's not like Lady Zainab who lived 14 centuries ago. It's another Zainab. It's like alive right now. And I think, Hassan, I can later on, so we can discuss this. I think that sirat in Surah Al-Fatiha is this. Ihdina sirat al-mustaqim. I think that sirat al-mustaqim, which takes you immediately to God, is realizing that life shouldn't be like this. You don't need to be patient. You don't need to trust. You don't need to do anything. I mean, there may be a period in which I go through these stages to get there, but the end goal is enjoying God's love. Yani God has created us to enjoy this world. And it's so interesting for me. I did not expect to see this from Shahid Sunni because he's a very conservative scholar. But even in the Comfort of the Heart, which is on alislam.org, he says, for a person who knows God, the concept of sabr is the most strange concept. It's so interesting. He says you may start in sabr, but he says you get to a place with God, all you see is beauty. What do you want to be sabr about? So he says for a person who knows God, sabr is the most strange thing. And you get to a place, what pain, what difficulty, I'm enjoying it. That is sirat. And I think maybe one important reason why we don't have that is we didn't know it's possible. I'm saying this example everywhere. Bless Salim who told me this. Do you guys know Bannister? His name is George Bannister or something. Apparently, at some time they thought it is impossible. Please listen to this. This is huge. At some point they thought it's impossible to run 1 mile under 4 minutes. Yeah? See, we have athletes within this. So they thought it's impossible to run 1 mile in less than 4 minutes. This guy goes and does it. When he does it, in the same year, many other people do it too. It's so great. No one had done it, even those who were trying. As soon as one person does it, then suddenly many people do it as well. What does that show? No. Okay, if you don't think it's possible, if you haven't seen it, even if you try, you're not really trying. That limiting belief stops you in some way, sabotages you. So why is it that we're not enjoying our life? I think because many of us, we don't imagine it's possible. And for good reasons, because we haven't seen many people enjoying life. Unless they're, but there are, those people exist. People that no matter what life throws at them, they're like, oh, beautiful. They receive it as a gift. Sorry, that was such a long answer. Yeah. Yes, please.
Before we ask that question, can you just tell the YouTubers that you're going to now close up?
Yes, I'm so sorry. There's an amazing question coming. But due to the limitations of technology, inshallah, we need to end this. We'll inshallah share that question with you in the next. And thank you so much for joining us. And Lantern of Light wishes you a safe in the rest of your day. The exit emergency doors. Sorry, I don't know how to do this. Goodbye. Love you so much. Someone just press the button.